Recording. Und ey, ich kann dir einfach nur sagen, solltest du gerade auf diesem Call sein, deine Kamera ist aus, kümmere dich darum, dass du die anmachst, okay, hol dir was zu schreiben raus, sei wirklich präsent, okay? Wir haben gestern darüber geredet auf dem Call, wie wichtig es ist, Präsenz zu zeigen, oder? Wie wichtig es wirklich, wie viel es über deine Persönlichkeit aussagt, über dein Charisma. Und heute sind wir auf dem Call über etwas zu lernen, was für mich extrem, extrem wichtig ist im Network Marketing. Und das ist, wie du andere Menschen beeinflusst, wie du Leadership hast, okay? Und wie du auch vor allem dich selber duplizierst in diesem Business. Und ich kann euch wirklich sagen, Leute, erstens, wo sind wirklich unsere Trend-Trade-Trader auf diesem Call? Die Leute, die wirklich eine tiefe Liebe zu Jay Awal empfinden. Ich denke, da gibt es auf jeden Fall einige. Und Leute, Jay Awal war nicht immer diese Person auf Go Live. Tatsächlich mittlerweile einer der meistgeschauten auf der Plattform. Er war auch nicht immer Chairman und nicht immer ein professioneller Trader. Seine Journey hat angefangen als Kameramann. Seine Journey hat angefangen als Videograf, als Content Creator. Und er war es damals für Matt und für Jason. Und mit der Zeit aber durch das Umfeld hat er angefangen, ein bisschen zu traden. Und mit dem Umfeld hat er angefangen, ein bisschen zu bilden. Und früher oder später hat man realisiert, dass in diesem Mann wirklich unfassbar viel Potenzial steckt und extrem viel Talent fürs Lehren, fürs Teachen, okay? Mittlerweile, wie gesagt, einer der meistgeschauten Go-Live-Educator auf der gesamten Plattform, hat schon vielen Menschen dabei verholfen, auch wirklich profitabel zu werden im Trading und unfassbar starke Resultate zu erzielen an den Finanzmärkten. Ist nicht nur Trader und Go-Live-Educator, aber auch Chairman, okay? Also dieser Mann weiß, wie man sich selbst dupliziert und wirklich eine Organisation von über 380 Partnern aufbaut. Und ich kann euch wirklich sagen, ein Leader ist eine Person, die Einfluss hat, eine Person, die dient, eine Person, die weniger auf sich selbst schaut. Und Jay ist wirklich einfach die Verkörperung genau davon, okay? Ihn interessiert es nicht, wie viele Leute auf den Call sind. Ihn interessiert es nicht, wie viel gerade bei ihm im Leben wirklich passiert. Er nimmt sich dennoch die Zeit für dich, um dich heute aufs nächste Level zu bringen mit dem Value, was in seinem Kopf steckt, okay? Und deswegen sei aufnahmefähig, sei ready. Mittlerweile einer der professionellsten Chairmans meiner Meinung nach mit einem sehr interessanten Auftritt und eine krasse Persönlichkeit. Und somit würde ich sagen, Jay, you are already the co-host. The team is ready, Leute. Lass mal wirklich den Chat zum Regnen bringen für Jay. Bro, you can unmute yourself. We are ready. The stage is yours.
Let's go. Let's go. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Okay. Amazing. Now, am I going to need a translator? Because I'm not going to lie. I understood about 3 words of what Daniel was saying.
Bro, you're good to go. Let's go.
No translator needed? All right, amazing. Well, hey, I understand that you guys are going through a boot camp right now, and that this is the next wave. Everyone, go ahead and stop with the sevens and drop some wave emojis. That this is the next wave of leaders coming out of Europe and all over the world. It's been a really special opportunity to be able to work with leaders like Daniel. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for serving people, bro, and being an amazing representation of our company, our vision, and our values. And today, you guys are going to be able to see me kind of in a different light. This is the leadership call, and you guys are the top hitters, the up and coming next wave, the next chairman, right? The world changers that are learning these skill sets, so that way you can level up into your version 2.0. And it's interesting because when I first started this, you guys know me as the Trend Trap educator, but I wasn't doing really much trading at all. I didn't have money to trade. I immediately went into leadership. I went into building the business and understanding the e-learning space because I knew, one, I didn't need any money to be able to do that. I can do that with just a dollar and a dream, right? As opposed to a trading account where if you want to make $1,000 a month on a trading account, well, you probably have to have thousands of dollars in your trading account. Yes or yes. And that's going to take some time for the average person. 250 bucks, 500 bucks, that's what they're starting a trading account with. So I immediately kind of went towards leadership because I didn't have any money and I had the great examples that you guys have inside this platform, which is people like Daniel, Matt Rosa, Alex Morin, to be able to model and say, hey, you know what? If they have a system that's working, I could just learn how to change myself. And that's kind of the topic of today's training. Okay. I called today's training the leadership lean in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to dive into this. I have some visuals to go along with what I'm talking about. But I really want to dive into the topic of, what is leadership, right? Like, what does it mean to me, especially inside of the space where I'm not just trading, I'm not just doing content to this day, but I'm building the business. And that's a really important thing to understand. Leadership isn't a title. Leadership isn't a thing. Leadership and leaders is what you become. And the beautiful thing about it is how old are you guys? Drop your age inside the chat box really quickly. Like, how old are you guys inside the chat? Because most people, they never get to experience this type of change. There's people that are 60 years old and they never learn, what does it mean to become a leader? What does it mean to have leadership over myself? But you guys, all the ages you guys are in this chat, right? Like literally 20 years old, 26 years old, I'm 30 years old. We have opportunity right now to make a shift and be able to absolutely transform our lives. Now, what is leadership? What does it mean to me? What does it mean to you in 2024? Well, people need to learn leadership to be successful. All right, get the notebooks out. We're going to dive right into it. You guys ready? I move quick. I'm originally from New York. If you guys haven't been on my session, we move quick on these, right? I expect you guys to be absolutely in tune. If you're watching Netflix, if you're texting your girlfriend on the side, boyfriend on the side, you're going to miss that one bar, that one lesson that might just take you to that next level. So everyone drop ready inside the chat box. You ready to go? I need full focus. I don't take 45 minutes, 30 minutes of your full attention. And I promise you, when you leave this training, you're going to feel more qualified to be a leader. You're going to be more equipped and you're going to be ready to outrank Daniel. You guys ready for that? Yeah, let's go. All right. So change or die. What does that mean? Hey, people need to learn leadership to be successful. You see it in your life. I mean, if your parent's not a good leader, then chances are you've dealt with that, right? They don't know how to handle their communication skills or their anger. The principles of leadership and management, which have been taught for years, have been known on fact, like these basic factors. Leadership requires a view of the world that's a little bit different than the average person because we need to understand people. As a leader, you become a leader by studying what motivates people, write this down, what their interests are, and how engaged they become. Okay. So for leadership, we need to know basically how do we interact? How do we interact with people that aren't like us? How do I interact with someone that I've never met before that's listening to me from a screen in Germany? Think about that, right? I'm on a call right now, and that's like the reality. And when you look at leadership in that sense, where it's like, okay, I need to learn what motivates people, what their interests are, and how engaged they become based on what I do, we start realizing that we can't take constructive criticism from people inside of our lives that we thought were a leader just because they have a title. There's a big difference between title and leadership. Okay. And when we speak into the first leaders that you ever had in your life were your mom and your dad. Now, if you're anything like me, you were raised with one parent that was really great and the other parent, which wasn't that great. They were a terrible example of what a mother or father might have been. My scenario was a father. So when I think of the word leaders and I have my root experience with leadership, I think of the first leaders that I have, and so do you. But that's not a leader. Okay. If you have that same experience in your life, drop yes in the chat box where you're like, Jay, I mean, I'm here, I'm alive, but like, I didn't have the greatest leaders as parents, right? Like they didn't teach me maybe everything I needed to know in life. And that's why I'm here today. I'm looking to become better so I can pass that on to my next generation. And immediately we tell ourselves, oh, we can never become a chairman, or we can never become a P5, or we can never become this in our mind because we already had a bad example of leadership. And when we say become a leader, you think it means become that. Does that make sense? Everyone nod your heads. That's not what we're talking about here today. What we're talking about is just because someone has a title, just because someone's even a chairman might not make them a leader, right? Leadership is about their character. Leadership is about their actions. And it's about how it is that you be able to what? Gain influence. So I want to ask you guys inside the chat box, what is influence? Let's talk about this real quick. What is influence? Drop some things in the chat box of what you believe influence is. Value, words and actions. I love it. I love it. What is influence? There's a lot of great influence, in personal development teachers that'll teach you how to think about this subject. People like John C. Maxwell. I get a lot of my leadership, I would say, development from church and sermons, right? I take notes in church, and I'm taking practical examples of what, what I can apply inside of my business and my life. And what I've learned is that leadership isn't gained by focusing on becoming a leader, right? Leadership is gained by focusing on the needs of the community that you're in, that you're already a participant in. So you don't gain influence by focusing on influence. You gain influence by focusing on the needs of the community. Drop some needs in the community inside the chat box. What are some needs that the empire currently needs? Like, what are some things that the empire currently needs? Chances are it's probably more creative graphic designers, right? It's probably more content creators. It's probably more people that will run and do home events and presentations, right? What is the need of the community to get to the goals that we want to be able to hit? Go ahead and Daniel, drop the goal. What's your guys' goal? You know, by the end of 2024, when it comes to a certain amount of ranked leaders, I'm sure you've talked about this, right? 5 chairmen, boom, right? 5 chairmans. And in order to get to 5 chairmans, we look at it and so we say, okay, well, how do we get to 5 chairmans? Well, how many people does that? How many leaders do we have to pop? How many P600s do we need to pop in order to get to 5 chairmans? And you start reversing that goal, and then you get to, okay, this is what I got to do daily in order for it to actually happen, right? Because influence comes with responsibility. And the quickest way to be able to get influence is by doing the action and becoming responsible for things. When the team can count on you to be able to show up, when you become a reliable leader, that's when you start gaining influence, right? It's not just by saying, oh, I'm a P150, I'm a leader now. That's not necessarily how it works. You become a leader by influence and then by title. So remember, you can be a chairman before you're chairman. I think actually that's the way to hit chairman, right, Daniel? Like, the way to get to chairman is by acting as a chairman before you get to chairman, putting the weight of that responsibility on yourself to be able to do it. And I'm sure all the other trainers that you've had so far have talked about the skill sets, the practical skills you need in order to what? To go to chairman, how to present, how to promote, right? What I want to talk about with you guys today is really the influence side of things and why it matters in our life more than ever before. I feel like, good leaders, by definition, they have followers, but followers need direction, and direction requires decision making. So maybe it's going to take you in your city where there's not that many people yet to say, hey, we're going to start throwing the events, right? We're going to actually put it together. I'm not going to wait for someone else to do it. I'm going to do it. So if you want to be a successful leader, you have to do what? You have to learn to become comfortable with uncertainty and make these shifts continually. Leaders who make these adaptations, these shifts, they're moving quickly because they're moving like water, right? Water just finds a way. If I put water on the floor and I put my shoe in front of it, the water will find a way around the shoe. And I always look at that analogy when I run into an obstacle in my business. Oh, crap, I can't afford a venue. How do I throw an event, right? Or I only have 6 people on my team. How am I supposed to throw this thing? Or how am I supposed to get this same community that they have in maybe in this city? How do I bring that over to here if it's just one person? And a lot of us, we stop ourselves from taking these actions because we think like this. So I want you guys to know that fast is faster, but forward is shorter. Meaning just because you're moving fast doesn't mean that you're going somewhere, right? You could be moving fast nowhere. You could be moving fast in a circle. I could be moving fast in hitting up a bunch of people and posting online, but if I'm not doing any offline and online events, then I'm not really moving forward, right? Because people aren't getting to see the information. They're not being able to see the opportunity and the business model that we have here. So I want you guys to really focus on, as we go towards those goals of 5 chairmans in this specific organization, that we're moving forward, that we're going to be more bold, we're going to be more daring than any leaders that came before us. Why? Not just because you're the next wave, but there's a big difference when you're a part of a community like this to be able to say, you know what, the people before me were really good, but you guys got to realize you're the next group of leaders. And our goal, my goal, Daniel's goal, Matt Rosa's goal, Alex Morin's goal is for you to be better than us. We want you to shortcut what it is that we had to learn, and now you get to take it like a family takes a generation the next step further. You guys are that next wave of leaders that are going to be able to do it better than us, and we're equipping you to do so. So what are some top 3 leadership qualities or skills that you need to master? You got to learn how to motivate people. Not everyone is motivated the same. There's this book I'm going to recommend you guys. It's called, I'm going to show it to you here. I'll pull it down in a second. It's called Why They Buy. It's called Why They Buy. This book is phenomenal for understanding personality types. When I came into this business, I was great at making friends, but only with people that were like me. I wasn't really good at making friends with people that were completely different than me. I found it difficult to hold a conversation with them. My team, as it grew and I became from P600 to P1 to P2, it started having people that were so different than me that I didn't even know how to motivate them. So I got recommended this book, Why They Buy, that broke down personality types, okay, on a kind of different level and taught me how to understand them, how to communicate to them, and then on the other side is how to sell to them, right? So this book taught me a lot about people that were like nothing like me, right? Like, for instance, I'm not a big yellow. Yellows are nurturers, right? Yellows are people that just really hang out with the community, even if they're not making any money, even if they're not ranking up. And there's people like that, that they're part of our organization because they thrive off the energy that we bring as a collective. But I couldn't relate to those people because I wasn't like that, right? If I wasn't building or trading or making money, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here just to go to the events and then sit there and watch everyone else rank up, right? That's just not my personality type. I'm a little bit more of a red. And I didn't understand, how do I motivate someone that isn't motivated by the same things as me? How do I even have a conversation with them? So I dove into that book and it gave me a lot of perspective on the different personality types. And that helped me learn how to motivate people that aren't like me. Chances are, if you're a P6, a P1, a P300 on this call, most of your team is very similar to you. They're a very similar personality type to you in the very beginning. But as your team grows, to be able to get you to P6, P2, P5, to create those 5 chairmans, right? You're going to have to learn how to motivate people that aren't like you, that are the opposite of you. And then the next one is the ability to work well across cultures. One of my first international organizations that I grew was out of Slovenia. I popped a P600 in my first year, connecting with people on Instagram in Slovenia, and the culture was a little different than obviously me living in Florida. Right, the time that they were available, how they wanted to move, the pace in which they moved, it was just a little bit different than what I used to. And for the first time, I had to learn, how do I work well with other cultures? So becoming a leader not only means that you got to learn how to motivate people, but you also got to learn how to work with people that aren't like you, not just in their personality type, but now also in their traditions and their values and their morals, right? These are things that we take into account. And I don't know about you guys, but these skill sets for me these are some of the most powerful skill sets in the world, right? If you're able to understand and be able to do these things, you're going to be successful, not just here, but anything that you touch is going to turn to gold. Because you're going to know how to motivate people, you're going to know how to work well across cultures, and you're going to have the ability to facilitate change, meaning you'll be able to take an organization that isn't doing so well into thriving, right? You'll be able to maybe derank not just once, but twice, and you still hit that rank again and surpass it because you have these skill sets. I really believe that as we become leaders inside of this space and we really focus on growth inside of our company, right? That you guys, I'm going to bring back the slides here in a minute, but you guys are able to understand that, good leaders, they not just find trends, but they're going to create trends, right? When I moved from content creation to building the business, I just saw enough success stories. I was like, I'm not going to be the person on the sidelines just holding the camera, even though that's great and it was amazing and I loved it and I still love it to this day. I knew that there was more out there. I knew that if I can lead myself in learning content creation, then I can lead others into becoming financially literate, right? And I made the decision to say, you know what? I'm going to focus on the needs. I'm going to help people just like me learn how to trade. And in the beginning, trading wasn't working for me. Why did I have the conviction to be able to share this business as passionately as I did? The amount of success stories I was seeing everywhere else. I took my first couple trades. All it took for me to make was $50 for me to know that this works. When I saw other people crushing it, when I saw people in Ecuador, when I saw teams popping off in Africa, that's when I was like, oh my goodness, like this can impact the world. We have something that can help a lot of people. Everyone right now in the world is looking at, how can I make more money? And your competition is everyone online telling them that their way is the best way. We got to have a better message. We got to be better leaders. We got to have better character, and we'll win. All right, we're already winning, but we'll win at a bigger level if we focus on these things. How clear is your messaging, right? How clear are you being with people of what you're going to help them do and where you're going to help them go? because I do believe that each and every single one of us are leaders on this call. We just got to realize it and equip ourselves with those skills, right? So I want us to read this together, and I'm going to go over a couple key more topics, but this is probably the biggest thing it comes down to, guys. One step at a time. I didn't want to come on here and, teach you how to launch or how to do this, because each system is different, right? I know the Empire has their system and it's working. So I wanted to teach you principles. Principles work across systems, okay? Principles work across generations. These are principles that you can teach anyone that we're talking about today, but good leaders, they adapt, they shift. At this exact moment in my career, I'm having to learn how to adapt and shift. Daniel's learning how to adapt and shift. We can't remain static, because what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow. And the world is changing all around us. We can't remain static in a world that doesn't remain static. And in the face of uncertainty, when you're like, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to throw my first event. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this Zoom call. How am I going to create content? I don't even know how to edit videos. Like, when all these thoughts come up in your head, you just got to recognize leaders are the people that lean into uncertainty and they deal with it head on. They get stuff done. If you don't want to be a leader, then whenever uncertainty pops up in your head, conform. Pull away. Go to your safe place. Protect yourself from the scary action. But you'll never become a leader. And you're going to be another story of someone that had the potential but didn't believe themselves as much as we believe in you. And that's probably the hardest part about our jobs. As a chairman, leader, as someone that's running an organization, and an educator, and all these different roles that myself, Daniel, and all these other amazing leaders are playing, probably the most difficult part of all of our jobs is the relationships, right? We love the relationships. We enjoy the fruit of the relationships. But what? But oftentimes we believe in people more than they believe in themselves. We see their potential. We see their possibilities in your life, whether it's Ruben, Tom, Tony, whether it's Dimitri. Like, we see what you guys are capable of, but sometimes you don't see that. So we run these calls. We equip you. We give you the training. But ultimately, it's, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to become? You're 20 years old, you're 21, you're 22, you're 23, you're 24. You have an opportunity of a lifetime right in front of you. And if this costs $7,000 to get started, you'd probably taken this a lot more seriously. But guess what? I know people that have spent $7,000 on a course and they had nowhere near the amount of resources that we have for $200 a month. Nowhere near. They had a Facebook group and that's it. and online videos inside the Facebook group. They didn't even have their own website. $7,500 course. But sometimes just because this costs $200, we discount it. And we say, oh, it's $200. It's a pair of AirPods. About as angry as you get as losing your AirPods is about as angry as some people get quitting this business, because it's just another purchase for them. How do you make it something deeper? How do you make your going P2 proving to yourself that you can overcome adversity and actually change in your life? Because where else are you going to get challenged? You go to a normal job. Is your boss, is the leader going to challenge you to become a better person? Or are they just going to challenge you not to be late and not to mess up? That's it. They don't care about your personal development. They don't care if you're an alcoholic when you get home or doing drugs. They just want you to show up and get the job done and don't ask for a raise, right? But this is different. We're pushing you because we know that the money is cool. I've traveled to 41 countries. Like, I feel really comfortable in the income that I'm making and been making. And it's just like, I'm in direct control of my growth. I can choose it. But the ability to be able to do that, to be able to master oneself, that's what we're after here. Chairman isn't 500 people. Chairman is, can you learn to motivate, work well across cultures, and facilitate change? Showing up and jumping on a Zoom call and giving value isn't, can I create slides? Do I know how to read a book to study? No, it's, can you actually go on there and connect with people and be able to help them, whether it's 5 slides or 3 slides or 2? So I want you guys to take that with you, after this training, after today's call, and really focus on those 3 things. What's going to motivate your team? Everyone drop a number in the chat box. How many people do you have on your team right now? Drop a number in the chat box. It can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. No number's too small. It only takes 3 to party. Remember that. 2 people to date, 3 people to party. 3 people to party, and you could throw an event. Let's go. 7, 13, 4, 200. I love that. 14. Amazing. So we have leaders at all different levels. And it doesn't matter If you're speaking in front of one person, to the person with one team, get to know that person. What motivates them? Build a relationship with them. Understand that in this industry, hey, some people are going to let you down. Some people that you invest in, they might even betray you, but it's okay. Guess what? Because the fruit of the good relationships is so worth all of the other stuff that comes along with it. You guys are in the leadership business. You're not in the sales business. You're not in the trading business. You're in the leadership business. And leaders take responsibility for their actions first. They lead by example, and then they go and show other people how to do the exact same thing. So I'm looking forward to, and I'm honestly super honored for being one of the guests on your trainings inside this boot camp. And as promised, we're literally coming into about 30 minutes here together of extreme focus. I see a lot of people with your guys' cameras on. You guys have been nodding your heads, taking some notes. Hopefully today, you got just 1 ounce of value that you can go and take and go kill it. It doesn't matter, like I said, if you're starting from scratch, if you're starting over, or you're having to backtrack. All you got to remember is the community and the thing that we got right here. It's special and it's going places. And the closer you stay to the fire, the bigger it is that you become yourself and you get to help people become. And Daniel's a living example of that, and the leaders you guys have as an example are as well. We care about you guys. We want to see you win. And like I said, I'm super grateful for being on here. Daniel, I want to pass this back to you, my brother. I know you guys have some big goals this year, and I'll be coming in July out to Europe. I believe we'll be hitting some spots in Germany. So I'm looking forward to getting to meet some of you guys in person, as I'll be hitting some cities alongside Matt Rosa in July. So looking forward to it. Much love, fam. Daniel, back to you, bro. Take over.
Perfect. Thank you, my man. Thank you, Jay. Guys, lasst uns den Chat nochmal zum Regnen bringen. Wirklich keine Selbstverständlichkeit. Und Leute, ich würde sagen, ey, es wurde zu wenig versprochen, okay? Dieser Mann weiß, wovon er redet. Und tatsächlich, wo Jay gerade geredet hat, ist mir eine Sache eingefallen. Und zwar das erste Mal, wo ich ihn, wie ich gehört habe, wie er speakt auf dem Call. Und das war noch ganz, ganz, ganz bevor er Go Live Educator war, noch ganz vor Binaries und vor TBX, wo er damals mit Evan unterwegs war und so weiter und so fort. Und ich kann mich daran erinnern, dass er auf einem Call war und er meinte Folgendes, und zwar, dass es nicht unbedingt schwieriger ist, passives Einkommen zu verdienen. Es ist nicht unbedingt schwieriger, Geld im Trading zu verdienen. Es ist einfach nur anders. Es ist anders, wie es uns beigebracht wird. Wir müssen andere Dinge erlernen. Okay, wir müssen das, was wir bereits wissen, vielleicht sogar verlernen. Und wir müssen uns neue Gewohnheiten aneignen. Wir müssen mit neuen Informationen umgehen und so weiter und so fort. Aber an sich braucht das alles die gleiche Amount of Energy, versteht ihr? Und ich finde, einfach zu sehen, in was für einer Position er gerade steckt und einfach seinen Werdegang zu sehen, wie er damals halt Videograf, Content Creator war und Step by Step gewachsen ist. Und ich kann mich noch erinnern, wie er damals diesen Call gehostet hat. Und ich glaube, zu dem Zeitpunkt war er Paying 1000 oder so. Und zu sehen, wo er jetzt gerade ist, ist wirklich inspirierend. Und das, was er gerade gesagt hat, er hat über Einfluss geredet, er hat darüber geredet, eine reliable Person zu sein, also jemand, auf den man zählen kann. Ich mag dazu gerne eine Story erzählen, die ich tatsächlich erlebt habe zusammen mit Jay. Ich bin euch ehrlich, Jay und ich sind jetzt nicht so unfassbar stark befreundet. Es ist nicht so, dass wir jeden Tag miteinander schreiben. Aber wenn es ums Business geht und wenn es darum geht, IM Academy aufzubauen, weiß ich auf jeden Fall, dass Jay eine Person ist, mit der ich unfassbar gerne die Bühne teile und eine Person, mit der ich gar keine Probleme habe und auch gar nicht zweimal dran denke, ihn auf einen Call zu holen, weil ich weiß, dieser Mann hat das Herz am richtigen Fleck. Und zwar hatten wir, ich glaube, das war schon vor circa 2,5 Jahren, ein Event gehabt. Das war ein Team-Event, das war unser überhaupt wie Super Saturday in Stuttgart. Und tatsächlich hatte ich Evan eingeladen zu kommen. Und Evan hat Jay eingeladen. Das heißt, ich habe Jay noch nicht mal persönlich eingeladen, dabei zu sein. Die beiden Jungs sind aus Miami. Jetzt pass auf, das Event ist in Stuttgart. Okay? So, die mussten von Miami nach New York und dort einen Flug holen, von New York nach Paris und von Paris nach Stuttgart. Diese ganze Route mussten die sich auf sich nehmen, um in Stuttgart vor Ort zu sein, um auf einem Event dabei zu sein, wovon sie monetär überhaupt keinen einzigen Vorteil haben. Das heißt, sie hätten überhaupt nichts davon gehabt, auf dem Event dabei zu sein. Es war noch nicht mal für ihr Team. Und sie hätten noch nicht mal, zu dem Zeitpunkt konnte Jay noch nicht mal sein Go Live promoten, weil er hat damals kein Forex getradet, er hat Binaries gemacht. Ich glaube, er macht es immer noch auf einem anderen Kanal. Aber in Europa ist es halt Grauzone, man muss halt immer aufpassen drauf. Deswegen ist es ein bisschen gesperrt bei uns. Ja, das heißt, er hat noch nicht mal irgendeinen Profit davon. Jetzt pass auf. Die Jungs sind von Miami nach New York geflogen und der Flug von New York nach Paris hatte Verspätung. Das heißt, als sie in Paris gelandet sind, konnten die nicht mehr den Folgeflug erwischen von Paris nach Stuttgart. Okay? Und die Jungs schreiben mir, yo, Daniel, wir sind zu spät und so, du musst es verschieben, weil die sollten eigentlich bei der ersten Hälfte vom Event sein und ich musste die verschieben auf die zweite Hälfte. Okay, und irgendwann, ich weiß nicht mehr, wer gespeakt hat, aber während des Events bekomme ich einen Anruf von Evan Cabral, einen FaceTime-Anruf von ihm. Okay, und ich gehe so Backstage, ich gehe Backstage und ich gehe ran und ich sehe einfach so, wie Jay einfach ins Mikro schreit, We're driving to Germany, baby, we're driving to Germany. Und ich so, was? Das geht bei euch ab? Halt auf Englisch, wie ihr fahrt nach Deutschland und so. Und dann haben mir die Lage erzählt. Die haben mir erzählt, dann unser Flug hatte Verspätung und wir konnten nicht mehr von Paris nach Stuttgart rechtzeitig, um auf dem Event dabei zu sein. Wir haben uns überlegt, einen Hubschrauber zu holen. Okay. Einfach damit du verstehst, wie das Leben eines Traders ist, das Leben eines Networkers. Aber da war nichts verfügbar. Okay. Wir wollten ein Auto mieten und es war wortwörtlich ein einziger Wagen übrig für den Tag. Und genau diesen Wagen haben wir bekommen. Und ich weiß gar nicht, wie lange man fährt. Ich habe es tatsächlich sogar vergessen, aber ich öffne mal hier kurz Maps. Okay, von Paris, Guys, die Strecke von Paris nach Stuttgart sind mit dem Auto 618 Kilometer, das sind 6 Stunden und 42 Minuten, das sind 7 Stunden, Guys. Und es ist ja nicht so, dass sie von Paris nach Stuttgart fahren und wir sind auf dem Event und diese 7 Stunden auf sich legen. Nein, Guys, die sind von Miami nach New York, von New York nach Paris und von Paris nach Stuttgart nochmal 7 Stunden. Diese Männer waren komplett gejetlaggt. Die wussten nicht, was für eine Uhrzeit sie haben. Sie hatten wahrscheinlich die letzten 48 Stunden nicht richtig geschlafen. Die hatten mehr Koffein in ihrem Körper als Blut. Und sie waren trotzdem auf dem Event rechtzeitig, okay, um uns zu dienen. Und falls ihr euch an den Part erinnern könnt, es war geil. Immer abgewechselt, es war humorvoll, es war enthusiastisch, es war geil. Die Jungs haben Trading beigebracht. Und das ist Leadership, wisst ihr? Nicht nur zu sagen, was zu tun ist, aber es auch zu machen. Und nochmal, ich erinnere dich daran. All das für eine Organisation, wo sie noch nicht mal einen eigenen Vorteil davon ziehen. Das ist krass, oder? Und ich kann mich erinnern, nach dem Event, ich gehe auf die Jungs zu und frage, Maurice fragt sie, was geht bei euch so nach dem Event? Oder sie fragen uns, ich kann mich nicht mehr so gut erinnern. Und dann hieß es, ja, morgen geht es weiter zum nächsten Event in Frankfurt, wir gehen auf Tour und so weiter und so fort. Und Maurice hat noch nicht mal richtig ausgesprochen. Und sie meinten dann schon, ey, sign us in, zählt auf uns, wir sind am Start, wir sind nicht umsonst nach Deutschland gekommen, wir wollen die ganze Tour mitnehmen. Und in meinem Kopf, ich denke mir nur so, warum? Warum macht ihr das? Ihr habt nicht einen Profit davon. Ihr habt gerade noch nicht mal auf dem Event gespeakt und ihr sagt schon dem anderen Event zu, ich denke mir so, und ich frage dann wirklich, literally, what is wrong with you? Also was ist falsch mit euch? Warum macht ihr das? Und die Antwort von Evan, ich kann mich noch so gut erinnern, er meinte einfach, Daniel, wir müssen das Ganze nicht machen, wir dürfen das Ganze machen. Das heißt, all das, diese ganzen Fahrten, diese ganzen Kosten, die ganzen Kilometer, die schlaflosen Nächte, die Unkomfortabilität, all das, weil sie es nicht machen müssen, sondern sie haben wortwörtlich Vergnügen daran. Und dann habe ich verstanden, wow, ich habe noch so viel an mir selber zu arbeiten. Ich bin ein Leader und ich komme auf die Bühne und ich werde gatified, aber ich habe noch so viel an mir selber zu arbeiten, oder? Und habe ich verstanden, was für ein Leadership wir wirklich haben mit IAM. Und seitdem, guys, ist es wirklich insane. Und ich bin extrem, extrem dankbar für diese Company und für das Leadership, was wir haben, für die Go Live Educator. Leute, ich muss euch wirklich sagen, ein Go Live Educator verdient nicht viel Geld dafür, dass er Go Live Educator ist. Kann ich euch sagen. Es ist noch nicht mal ein Trade, was er damit macht. Okay? Also es ist wirklich eine Person, die bereit ist, ein Leader zu sein und das Leben von anderen Menschen zu beeinflussen, Einfluss auszuüben und einfach Menschen zu helfen, okay? Und Jay hat gerade selber gesagt, hey, ich bin nicht dieser Persönlichkeitstyp, der einfach nur gerne anderen Menschen hilft, okay? Und dennoch macht er das. Es gibt ja diese Leute, die haben Spaß daran, die sind sozial, sie haben wirklich unfassbar krass Vergnügen daran, Menschen zu helfen und so weiter und so fort. Aber hey, dennoch, du gehst gegen deinen eigenen Willen, du gehst gegen deine eigenen Emotionen, danach, wie du dich fühlst. Und du machst es halt einfach, weil du weißt, du machst es für einen besseren Cause, für eine Mission, und zwar Leben von anderen Menschen zu beeinflussen. Und das ist das, was wir repräsentieren mit Iron Mastery Academy. Und ich hoffe, das hat jeder Einzelne wirklich von euch auch verkörpert und verstanden. Okay, guys. Somit kommen wir auch wirklich zum letzten Announcement. Okay. Und zwar, das ist ziemlich nice, guys. Das alles war jetzt natürlich ein Network Bootcamp. Und wir haben uns natürlich nochmal, wie immer, mit dem P2 Leadership zusammen hingesetzt. Und wir kamen auf eine Idee, tatsächlich weiß ich gar nicht mehr, wer es war, aber wir kamen auf eine Idee, und zwar einen Prospect-Channel aufzumachen auf WhatsApp, ein Kanal, wo du deine Interessenten hinzufügen kannst. Und was ist der Sinn dahinter, kann ich dir sehr gut erklären. Wer kennt diese Leute, die sagen, hey, ich kann erst nächsten Monat starten, gerade passt es einfach nicht, Klausurenphase, ich kann starten nach dem Umzug, ich kann starten nach dem Urlaub, ich muss noch darauf und darauf, Gehalt ist noch nicht gekommen und so weiter und so fort. Und wir wissen alle, wie wichtig es ist, diese Leute warm zu halten und immer wieder neue Eindrücke zu geben. Yes or yes. Schreib mal rein in den Chat. Yes or yes. Wir kennen alle, wir wissen, wie wichtig es ist, Guys. Aber manchmal ist es, wir vergessen es mit dem Alltag. Wir wissen nicht ganz, wie wir auf die Person zugehen sollen. Wir haben das Gefühl, wir wollen nicht zu aufdringlich sein und so weiter und so fort. Und dafür haben wir uns Folgendes überlegt. Wir werden einen Kanal aufmachen, wo, sobald die Person weiß, was iMaster Academy ist, aber nicht sofort startet, fügst du die Person in den Channel rein. Er ist anonym, niemand wird Zugriff haben auf seine Interessenten, keiner wird seine Nummer sehen und nur die Admins werden reinschreiben können. Das sind die P1-Leader, das sind wir, die P2s und so weiter. Und wir werden diese Gruppe leiten. Und was wir dort machen werden, ist ganz einfach, weiterhin deine Leute warm zu halten. Wir werden Eindrücke reinschicken, Mentorship-Call-Empfehlungen, Videonachrichten, Nuggets. Wir werden mal Trading-Ideen reinschicken. Wir werden interne Calls machen für diese Gruppe, dass deine Leute weiterhin warm bleiben. Jetzt pass auf. Die persönliche Ebene können wir immer noch nicht übernehmen. Das heißt, die Freundschaft aufzubauen mit der Person, das ist immer noch dein Job. Im Gym zu sein und ein Bild an die Person zu schicken und sagen, hey Bro, wie war heute dein Tag? Warst du heute im Gym? Ein Trade zu setzen und diesen Trade an die Person zu senden und sagen, hey Bro, hab gerade einen Trade gesetzt mit dem Impuls-Scanner. Letztens, was ich erklärt hatte, kannst dich erinnern, ging richtig gut auf. Diese Dinge, okay, diese persönliche Ebene, die können wir nicht übernehmen für dich. Das wird immer noch dein Job sein. Okay, aber wenn es darum geht, weitere Eindrücke zu schicken und so weiter und so fort, das werden wir jetzt als Gesamtorganisation mit EWAP machen. Das heißt, das Einzige, was du tun musst, ist Überblick zu haben über deine Pipeline, die Leute hinzuzufügen in die Gruppe. Ich sende es auch wirklich genau jetzt in den EWAP-Channel rein. In 3, 2, 1, zack. Und ist raus. Bitte selber reingehen in die Gruppe. Okay? Selber schon mal deine Prospects. Du kannst Folgendes sogar machen. Ich würde die Person jetzt nicht einfach den Link schicken und sagen, hey Bro, join diese Gruppe wegen dem und dem und dem Grund. Nein. Ich würde wirklich mit jedem Einzelnen, den du kennst, der vorhat zu starten, es aber noch nicht getan hat, einen neuen Call ausmachen. Sei es mit einer Upline, egal was, einfach neue Eindrücke geben. Und dann wirst du die Person in die Gruppe hinzufügen auf dem Call. Du edifyst die Gruppe, du promotest die Gruppe, du edifyst die Leute, die diese Gruppe leiten. Okay? Und ich sage immer Folgendes: Ich sage immer so, hey, ich weiß, du hast vor zu starten, aber passt es gerade nicht wegen dem und dem und dem Grund. Okay, passt. Aber anstatt dass du einfach die ganze Zeit nichts tust und wartest, dass dein Gehalt kommt zum Beispiel, kannst du jetzt schon mal der Gruppe joinen und dir einfach mal angucken, was dort reingeschickt wird, sodass du jetzt schon mal anfängst, Fortschritte zu machen, dass wenn du loslegst, du schon viel, viel Schritte voraus bist, als wenn du die ganze Zeit nur auf die richtige Möglichkeit warten würdest. Ergibt das Sinn für dich? Sagen die, ja, safe, passt mega, optimal. Jeder Mensch mag kostenlose Informationen, oder? Okay? Und genauso kannst du wirklich für dich vorgehen. Deswegen, Link ist auf jeden Fall in den Wapi-Channel weitergeleitet worden. Bitte an die Leader. Leite das bitte in alle Gruppen weiter. Okay? Und nutze das Ganze wirklich für dich. Vergiss es nicht. Schreib das auf deine To-Do-Liste. Ich habe manchmal das Gefühl, wir bauen so viel Innovation ein, so viel Neues, okay, so viele Updates, dass man manchmal das Gefühl hat, es wird zu viel. Und manchmal vergisst man die Dinge. Okay? Manchmal vergisst man die Dinge. Und deswegen, hey, bleib fokussiert und nutze das Ganze wirklich für dich. Okay? Und ich würde sagen, hey, ich hoffe, das Bootcamp war wirklich nice. Es ist alles aufgezeichnet auf YouTube. Und hey, ich würde sagen, somit beenden wir das Ganze auch. Ich freue mich auf jeden Fall. Hey, und ich freue mich wirklich, neue Ränge zu sehen. Ich freue mich zu sehen, wie du neue Levels erreichst, wie du Erhebung verspürst in deinem Business, in deinem Leben, in deiner Persönlichkeit, in deinen Beziehungen. Und somit würde ich sagen, guys, as you already know, just imagine what one decision can do. It will always be worth it. Macht's gut, Leute. Ciao, ciao.